Okay, just gonna quickly recap this week's trades. So I already went over this one. This was a buy with, of course, room to move within this overall bearish structure, aligning some nice bullish volume off of a daily level deep within this overall bullish external shift, which was kind of a high time frame shift to the upside. Even though we were quite range bound at this point, just circle this and go to a higher time frame. Price was kind of aligning for a shift. We're obviously within bullish structure here, and then we get another shift right here, and then if we zoom in even more, we're kind of bearishly trending deep within this bullish move, and then we pull down, break, pull down within that move, and we were at a daily level. So it's kind of what I was going off of there. As for Monday, no trades, just didn't like what we were looking like. I still usually journal sessions even if I don't take the trade. That was my learning, I guess. Yeah, just keeping things overwhelmingly basic in directional conditions. Probably could have taken an entry here, but just didn't really like it. As for Tuesday, high time frame was range bound. We were within this overall bullish shift though, pulled down deep within it, kind of broke to the upside, and I was just looking for a continuation of this right off of open, given how we were moving on the low time frame and given, pretty rangy, pulled down deep within this move and are now looking to kind of push back up to the top of this range, and likely continue bullishly given how we've been moving. As for the entry itself, just kind of got edged out. I entered a little bit too early for the low volume. So yeah, just kind of lost sight of where we were within the overall low time frame move. I kind of got caught lacking just watching the tick volume because, as I've said in previous videos, most of my entries are off of tick volume shifts or like tick high lows, something of that nature. It's always just a comparison between the bearish tick candles and the bullish tick candles, especially when I'm entering off of open. So I jumped in a little bit too early. We hadn't even retraced 50% of this overall bullish move. So yeah, it's a mistake on my part. I like the trade idea, but entry, like the execution, just wasn't good. Definitely deserved to lose that. Yeah, just poor adaptation to the volume by me here. Jumped in a little bit too early. When you kind of build an instinct of entering a certain way, it's tough to not fire on entries when you see that cue occurring. But yeah, I need to make sure to assess the volume going into every session, because clearly this just isn't really the structure that you want to be taking like snappy shifts off of. This does look a little bit different than a lot of my buys, but in this condition, this is a trade that I've established I'm comfortable taking. It's kind of the low time frame continuation entry model I talked about in one of my other videos. So yeah, I'm totally cool with taking that. Execution just could have been better. So yeah, once Thursday came around, I thought I'd probably be done for the week, honestly, given it was Thanksgiving. The Thursday session was shit for second hour of Asia, at least. I was, where was it? Oh yeah, we opened just kind of ripped bullish, and I was looking for a potential overextension into a daily level, because then we'd not only be overextended relative to the high time frame, but we'd also be overextended into a nice level. But it just didn't happen. Daily level was somewhere up here. But then Friday came around, and I actually wasn't even looking at the charts, but I got a TradingView notification that I had set for Asia session up here. I got a notification that price came into that area, so I jumped on and ended up taking the trade that I wanted to take in Asia session in New York. Now I have this one recorded live and recapped, but it was taken off of a 1 minute shift to the downside. Lots of room to move within this overextended trend. which yeah, relative to the middle time frame, very overextended, which is nice. It's also into a daily level. It's also into an area within the high time frame. You could expect a bit of a pullback too, just kind of based off of how the high time frame was moving. Right, we're up here, so there was a lot stacked into that trade. As for what I entered off of in particular, it was initially the 1 minute type 3, and then I was waiting for a retrace into the move. 5 minute candle opened right here, immediately drove bullish. We touched it and saw a really nice reaction there. Entered on the break of that 1 minute candle. This wasn't really a scalp. This is more like a low time frame trade. This is longer than most of my trades, but yeah, was just targeting a little bit under 50% of that overall move. I had faith in it, just given how overextended we were. I didn't trail stop. I should have, probably on the break of these lows. I then took another quick sell here. This was essentially off of the same trade idea as this. I mainly took this because of how DXY was moving. Where were we here? So yeah, the initial entry was taken kind of in here. We were at an area where you'd kind of expect price to continue bullish, but we just ended up dumping. And while we were dumping, we pulled back up on gold. Yes, we did fill this overall bullish move, which wasn't ideal, but I kind of saw this pullback as a result of DXY dumping, and so I figured I'd take the entry again. Obviously, we did continue bullish, but the key here is we also had lots of room to move within this low time frame trend, right? Pull up here. Entry was here, so had lots of room to move, and we had just taken this high, and of course still quite extended high time frame wise. I wouldn't really consider this middle time frame overextended anymore because we'd filled the move and continued bullish, but given we had room to move low time frame wise, candle behavior was good. 5 minute opened, immediately drove bullish, and then snapped bearish. This was a tick T3 entry. I'll show that in a second, but yeah, very similar to this trade, just a lower time frame iteration, I guess. So yeah, what did I enter off of particularly? We obviously had this really strong, decisive break to the downside on the tick chart. We retraced, 5 minute candle open, drove bullish, and then right in this large bearish candle is where I entered. So yeah, I think given the volume, it was a really suitable entry. So yeah, ended up just taking profit at those low time frame lows. I wasn't going to presume the break of that, so not a terrible week. Just need to adapt to the volume.